everybody. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us at Small Cap Voice. I'm joined once again by Cliff Emmons, CEO of IIOT-Oxys, ticker symbol ITOX. You should know that by now, and you should also know big news out this week. Here's the headline. IIOT-Oxys awarded six-figure subcontract from a major Northeast state's DOT for bridge monitoring. That's Department of Transportation. That came out just a couple of days ago. And Cliff, let's get your feedback on this. This really kind of gets us back to where we spoke in March. You and Javier Diaz came on. Javier is the CTO of Angura. I mean, this is coming to fruition. Let's talk a little bit about this, and let's talk about the differences possibly between this contract and the one we discussed back in March.
Sure, Stuart. First, let me take the opportunity to again recognize and thank Angura IIoT for being excellent partners. Oxys would not have won this contract without the assistance of Javier and his technical team. As for this contract we just announced versus the PO extension we announced back in March of this year, they are both the same and different. So let me clarify that point. Back in March, when our main contractor wanted to spin up monitoring on the original bridges, they approached the DOT leaders and asked to reallocate some of the unused funds from our original contract, which allowed us to start monitoring and billing for the second quarter of 2022. At the same time, the main contractor received the approval to reallocate the funds for Q2. The DOT leaders asked that we submit a proposal for a full year of monitoring beginning in July of 2022, which is the start of their fiscal year. We worked with the main contractors to submit that proposal in late April, early May, and that's the contract we just received official word on last week.
Well, very good. You mentioned in this contract that this is a validation of the value proposition that your company offers by the structural engineering main contractor on the project and the DOT. So these are their words, I'm assuming. Can you give us more details on what that value proposition actually is?
Absolutely. There are several ways we provide value to our customer, the DOT leaders. First is the monitoring frequency versus traditional visual inspections. By federal statutes, bridges must be visually inspected every 2 years. Our monitoring service is 24/7. The sensors never sleep. And the data is reviewed monthly by our machine learning engineer, and a formal report is generated every quarter for the contractor and the DOT leaders. The most important value we bring is that we provide information that cannot be seen or gathered through visual inspections. And this is actually from the words of the main contractor and themselves. In this particular type of bridge, and get ready because this is a mouthful, these bridges are pre-stressed concrete butted beam construction. Now, this simply means that the engineers cannot directly inspect the surfaces between the beams that are where they're butted or sandwiched together. We found our algorithms can detect if the bridge's response to traffic flow is stable or changing over time. This is a big help to bridge inspectors and asset managers, as they can use our findings as an adjunct to traditional visual methods to assess the structure. So really a 2-for-1 value here: adjunct information to visual inspections and the ability to assess stability over time.
Well, let's talk about the different aspects and goals of this contract. It says in the press release that this project was fully funded for monitoring and analysis, as well as equipment upgrades as presented in your proposal. So again, give us some perspective on the different aspects and goals of this contract.
The number one goal of the project is to continue monitoring the stability of these pilot bridges through another complete year to compare year-over-year responses as well as any seasonal variations. Another goal was to increase the uptime of the systems on these pilot bridges. I mentioned the sensors work 24/7, but there are occasional downtimes due to our short winter days and challenging New England weather. The contract includes system upgrades to increase the robustness of these systems. It also includes funds for additional analysis, such as compensation for the seasonal variations in bridge response. The final and most important goal is simply to gather more data. Data is the key to ensure our algorithms are providing accurate insights for the bridge inspectors and asset managers that they can pair with their current visual inspections.
Well, Cliff, let's round out this interview with this final question from me. This contract obviously has immediate impact on your bottom line through increased revenue for 22 and 2023. That you highlighted that again in the press release. So listeners using that ticker symbol or viewers using that ticker symbol ITOX, find the press release, everything I'm pulling straight from that. But does this also have an impact on business prospecting in the SHM business, which is structural health monitoring? We spoke earlier in the interview about validation. Validation should help in prospecting. What's your take on that?
Yes, it will. And first of all, we are extremely excited about the positive impact this contract has for solid revenue projections in 2022 and into the first half of 2023. But we're even more excited what this does for prospecting and potential future business. First, there's no better endorsement than a repeat customer, and we thank our main contractor and DOT leadership for the confidence they have in us. Our first expectation is that strong execution on this contract will lead to an expansion to additional bridges for this particular DOT, especially for bridges of similar construction. Furthermore, our subject matter experts, SMEs, that have advised us on this project have actually brought additional leads for other bridge monitoring projects. We're also currently reaching out to other state DOT leaders where we know they have inventory of bridges with similar construction. Our partner, Eingura, is currently prospecting in both Europe and the Middle East for similar bridge monitoring projects. We've even begun the process of expanding our conversations with additional partners whose technology can monitor other types of larger bridges. So very exciting times indeed.
Well, and those make for great interviews. So we so appreciate your time here today at Small Cap Voice. Thanks so much for that, Cliff. Best of luck in all things. And go ahead and bring Javier back around. We'd love to catch up with him on what's going on in the Middle East and internationally speaking for your company. But I will give one last takeaway from something you just said. There is no better validation than a repeat customer. And that is kudos to you, your team, and music to the ears of your shareholders. So thanks for your time, Cliff.
Thank you, Stuart.
All right, for Cliff Emmons, this is Stuart Smith saying stay tuned and put that ticker symbol on your watch list, ITOX.